Hello, everyone. I'm back for another episode for an energetic outlook on life. So, with all the protests and everything, what next? What's the next step? Normally, what we do is we march, we have protests. Sometimes things get a little out of hand, like they have the last few days. It's interesting with the follow up that a lot of that violence was coming from people out of town, so there are other elements that were involved in these protests. But let's set that aside for now and let's just focus on the main purpose of the protests is to bring attention to the inequities in the justice system, to bring attention to how the police structure in this country, because it's not just Minnesota, it's in most of these cities, how the police culture, the structure, and the system, how it is not designed to protect the citizenry. Okay, if one group of people are being abused by the system, it's not working. Just because other people may have been fine with it or not really affected by it, it's still not working. Okay. So, what's the next step besides marching? Now, you've been able, clearly, you have the skills to organize and march. What else can you organize for? Well, the one thing is start looking at these DAs. Because with the case in Minnesota, with the case with Ahmaud Arbery, the DA took their time, until their hand was pressed to bring charges to the cops and to the people that committed the murders. So what is this DA's record? What is their history? And if it's coddling police, if it's enabling the system and not changing the system, we need to get a DA in there that is going to do that. So it's about cultivating new DAs. Who do you know that can be a DA that is for reform, police reform? Put them in office, get the word out. Social media is a very powerful platform, right? Also, the police chief. What is the police chief's record? Start looking at these cops. If the guy that murdered George Floyd, he had 19 complaints. Why is he still on the police force? Start looking at these records, and if these cops are still on the police force, you need to bring pressure on the police chief, pressure on the mayor. Start saying, is it your policy to hire thugs and give them guns and badges with the right to kill? Ask these hard questions. Is it your policy to teach your police officers to use lethal force of suppression on unarmed civilians? They're acting like a gang. So can there be a class action suit brought against these police force? They're acting like a gang. Use RICO laws against them. Okay, they're not above the law. They're citizens as well. They're public servants that are citizens. They don't have special rights or special laws, and they shouldn't have that. And there shouldn't be laws with that either. So start looking at these records. Start making changes. Because I believe we can vote in these DAs. We can vote in the mayor. And we can hold the mayor accountable for the police chief he, um, he hires. City council members, start looking at their records. Are they for enabling police abuse by not holding the police force accountable? If so, then they can't remain. This is about change. Change starts with us holding our leaders accountable. That's how we can hold them accountable. Use our means of detective skills to find out what they've done in their past. If it doesn't hold the muster, then they have to go. Find somebody that does, that has that belief, has those values, that the police force should be part of the community and should be truly protecting the community and not out for their own interests. Because that's what it is now. They don't see themselves as part of the community. They see themselves above the community that can be taken advantage that they can take advantage of at will. So it's up to us to take the next step. If we just march and yes, we're pissed off and we don't like it, and we don't do anything about it, then that's really not an honest claim that we're making. If we don't take the next step, then all we are really saying to the world, to the public, to the universe, to out there, all we're really saying is, I didn't like what I saw and it made me feel a little uncomfortable, and I just want to do something so that I can sweep the discomfort under the carpet and not have to look at it again. So, what is it that you're going to do next? Are you going to sweep the discomfort underneath the carpet so you don't have to look at it again? Or are you going to truly take care of what needs to be taken care of? Are you truly going to take the next step to make true change? There is a test out there that they can give people to determine their level of racism. There's a psychological test that you can do that. Bring these tests in as part of a citizens oversight committee that all police officers have to take this test. All sergeants, lieutenants, police chief, they got to take this test. If they fail it, they cannot be a police officer unless it's in, some place in North Dakota where they're never going to run across a black person or anything like that. So, but other than that, not in any major city. So there are things that can be done. There are things. Now I can look up what that test is and you can put it in the description box. But there is a test, and the police don't want to do it. But you know what? It's not their choice. They work for us. It would be our requirement. You want to be a police, you want to be a cop in this town, these are the requirements that you have to pass. So it's for us to set that up because they're policing us. So we create the requirements, and we need to take that back. We need to vote in elected officials that understand that and respect that. And if there are DAs or mayors that are just really out of bounds, you can do a recall. Recalls have been done before. Okay, we've organized all this. We can take the next step. One last thing I want to cover. When you have police officers that murder civilians and they're behaving badly and they're behaving in ways that harm the public, go after the police unions. Don't have the taxpayers pay for their bad behavior. It should be their police unions and their pension funds. You always go after the money if you want to make the biggest difference and the biggest impact. So start setting up systems and setting up precedents to go after these entities. What is it that you want to do? What is it you want? Do you truly want reform? Then focus on what will bring the reform. That's all I have to say for right now. Let's take the next step with this. Bye-bye for now.